What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and it's finally here! The Defenders Season 1, Episode 1, The H Word, finally hit Netflix, finally able to watch it, and finally able to talk about it. So, let's dive right into it. Really excited to get into this. Something I've really been looking forward to for, I don't know, since they announced it. I mean, seeing Daredevil and Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and even Iron Fist come together. You know, I know a lot of people didn't really like Iron Fist. I didn't mind it too much. It's definitely the worst one out of the four, but I still enjoyed it to some extent. And getting to see kind of a naive Danny work with the cynical Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, I just expect him to tear into him because he's just a kid who thinks he's here to save the world and all that. So I fully expect a ton of jokes to come out of this. But first episode, in my opinion, perfect way to start it off. I mean, not really. There's like one action scene at the beginning. The rest of it is mainly introductions and mainly finding out where the characters are at this point. So first, let's start off with the very first story to open it up. Colleen and Danny are in, I want to say Cambodia, but I can't remember what country they're in. But pretty much doing exactly what you expect Danny to do. He's tracking down the hand after he found out about Kunlun being, I guess, moved or destroyed. We never really got any confirmation as to what happened to Kunlun exactly. But he's trying to track down the hand because he's trying to obviously take out every single one. We see there's a guy being hunted down by a woman, and all of a sudden she kills him. I'm assuming that's Elektra, but I guess we'll find out later whether or not that's actually her. But she kills the guy. Danny's trying to fight her, but she's just too good. She's too fast for him. He does manage to use his Iron Fist once on her, and all of a sudden she disappears. So, yeah, very, I guess, confusing but exciting way to start off the episode. As far as their story goes, the rest of the episode pretty much hardly see them. There's one moment where they're in a Rand airplane coming back to the States, or I don't know where. But they're on their way back, and Danny has a dream about being at Kunlun and all the people dead. And then a version of himself in a Kunlun outfit shows up and it's like, you betrayed them, you're supposed to be here to protect them. And pretty much just gives him a talking to, and so he's obviously still mentally scarred by all of this. But last time we see them, all of a sudden they're in a helicopter returning to New York City. I don't know exactly how that works. Like, first they're in a plane, and then as they're landing, they're in a helicopter. Maybe they had a pit stop somewhere along the way. But yeah, they arrive just in time for the earthquake at the end of the episode that everybody experiences. So just a way for them to be there as everything is getting started, all the hectic chaos that's about to ensue. But we move on to some of the other stories, and what I really enjoyed about this episode is just, it's one of the smaller touches, but something that I noticed right away, and it was really cool. Obviously, they all have their own color attributed to them. Daredevil is red, Luke Cage is yellow, Jessica Jones is blue, and I think Iron Fist is orange-ish. They didn't really cut to him that often, so I don't know what to attribute him as far as color. But every single time they transition from one to the other, the color transition too. Like, anytime they transitioned over to Luke Cage, they're doing some sort of transition, but it's in yellow. Every time it's over to Jessica Jones, some transition in blue. Daredevil, it's red. So I really like that little touch, because it's kind of like, hey, getting yourself ready for who you're about to go experience this next scene with. So it was a little touch, but it was very effective, and I really enjoyed it. But as far as each of their story goes, you're pretty much just finding out where they are. And the title of this episode is The H Word. I was like, the hand? Apparently, they're talking about Hero. Each of them are kind of discovering who they are now. Jessica Jones is being touted as kind of a hero. She helped people. She did this thing, and Trish is still, I guess, talking about it on her little show or whatever. And so people want to go to her for help, but this one lady shows up and says, hey, my husband's missing, and Jessica's just like, he's probably just cheating on you, and just really cynical about it, like she doesn't want to help, but ultimately, as the lady's leaving, she does have to say, I do hope you find him. So there's that side of her that's like, okay, I can't just always be this this mean, bitchy person. I have to help people. I have to try to help people. And so, once she gets inside, she gets a phone call, a distorted voice says, hey, don't look into this guy's disappearance. And that ultimately gets her spurred on to go and search for him. So I assume whoever called her probably wanted her to go find this guy, because why else would you call Jessica Jones and say, hey, don't do this? You know she's going to go do it if you know her. So either it's somebody who doesn't really know her and thinks maybe just a creepy voice is going to throw her off the scent, or it's somebody who knows that, hey, if I call her with this distorted voice, she's going to wonder what's going on and go search for this guy. But the episode ends with her, and she tracks down this guy, finds him hanging out in this kind of a rundown motel, and says, hey, trying to call me to throw you off your scent. That's not smart of you. I found your name here. I know you're in here. So she breaks into his apartment to see a ton of like explosive stuff in there. He's not there. And then the earthquake hits. And so kind of wondering if this guy is maybe working for the Hand, or maybe if they're using his information somehow. But yeah, I assume this is going to tie into the Hand somehow. But that's kind of her story going forward. As far as Luke Cage is concerned, he's right out of prison, trying to find out what he needs to do now to get back into Harlem and help again. Because that's what he cares about. And it makes a lot of sense coming from him. If you watch Luke Cage the first season, you know the one thing he cares about is that city. He loves the city. He wants to try to help the city. He wants to bring it out of this kind of rundown state that it's come into. And so he comes out, and first thing he runs into, Claire. So glad to have Claire in this. I knew she was going to be involved because she's the only one that ties them all together, but I don't know, just getting her right off the bat is just perfect. I love getting her in instantly into the show, instantly a big part of the show. I'm still thinking she's going to be what ties them all together, but I hope they don't Coulson her and she's the reason why they all decide to work together. But yeah, so they head back to his place after some lovemaking. Misty Knight shows up at the front door and says, hey, let's go for a walk. And so she's just talking to Luke and saying, hey, if you want to help out, I think we've got this. The police have got this covered. But if you want to help out, there's this kid. I think they said he lost his brother and sister in some sort of bombing, maybe, or no, maybe it was he lost his brother in a bombing, but his sister was also dead, and she was the only one that could testify against Mariah or something like that. I don't know. I was kind of lost. I was trying to follow it while also thinking about other scenes. But basically, Misty's saying, hey, go talk to this kid and kind of, I guess, give him a little bit of a push in the right direction. Kind of like what Pop used to do for the community. So he goes and talks to this kid, and of course the kid is just like, hey, screw you, man. I don't want any part of this. I know what I'm doing. I don't need your help. And so, you kind of figure that coming from a kid. You don't expect it to just be Luke Cage walks in, gives him a talking to, and he's just like, yeah, I accept everything you say, because that's never how it works in TV shows and movies. But one of the things I do love about this scene is he walks into the building to go talk to this kid, and these four guys are just hanging out and, talking about whatever. And he's like, hey, it's cool here. And they're just like, man, what's it to you? He pulls back the hood, and instantly their demeanor changes from, like, the guy's, like, leaning against the doorstop. He's like, man, F you. And all of a sudden the hood goes back. He's like, oh, yeah, he's one floor up. He just talks all respectful all of a sudden, and I love that, because how else would you react whenever a hero steps into your building? It's like, dude, this guy saved our city. I'm going to show him some respect. I'm going to be like, okay, I got you. I'm going to help you out. I don't want any trouble. So, I don't know. It's just perfect the way they handled that. But ultimately, the final thing we see for him is while the earthquake is going on, this woman's at the car where the bomb happened, and she's about to get knocked over by a lamppost. It's falling, and he steps in and saves her. So, yeah, he also experiences the earthquake in his own way. And then the final one, of course, is Daredevil. He's apparently just a lawyer now. We see him doing some lawyering stuff and giving a pep talk to this kid who apparently lost the use of his legs. Some sort of like evil corporation selling their product, and it affected him by paralyzing him, and so he's fighting for justice, and they managed to win the case. And then Karen walks in, and is talking to him. Last thing we saw for them was he told her about his secret about being Daredevil. And so they go to a diner to talk, and nice little scene. You know, I really liked just some of the conversation they had. The dialogue was very good here because pretty much she's not saying that it drove her away, but it is kind of a shocking thing to learn that your blind friend, who you thought was just this normal guy who was also blind, to learn that he's also secretly this vigilante on the side and that he actually can see very well using his other senses, and that he's been lying to you about this whole time. It's not like she's like, oh my gosh, we're done, you know, I can't talk to you anymore, which is what they do most of the time in TV shows. Like, I can't believe you lied to me, we're through, Felicity. But I hear it's just like, no, you didn't push me away, it just, we needed to figure some things out. And that makes sense. You know, it makes sense because how else would you react in this situation? You wouldn't just be like, oh, cool, you're that Daredevil guy, we're cool. No, it'd be kind of shocking. You'd have to take some time to say, okay, let's step back and figure this whole thing out. But ultimately, I guess Matt's decided to hang up the cowl for now, because the police are doing a really good job. Karen even says, hey, they've done a very good job of cleaning up the city. You know, Daredevil helped, but he's not needed anymore. Now Matt Murdock is needed. And so, you know, it was a very nice scene, just very simple, no stupid decisions, no stupid drawn out, like, I can't believe you lied to me talk. It's a talk amongst two friends who have feelings for each other but are trying to figure the whole situation out. It's just so, it felt so good. It was such a, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? I've lost the word now. But it just felt really good to see that instead of two friends arguing about this whole, I can't believe you used to do this, I can't believe you put your life in danger, blah, 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 blah. So, after this, though, we do see Matt go to the priest that he normally talks to. Honestly, I don't know why, but for some reason, when he just stepped into the booth and started confessing, I almost, my brain was just like, what if the guy turns to him and is like, what are you talking about, your secret? It's just a priest he doesn't know. I wonder if that's ever happened to him. Like, he just walks into the church, he walks in there, and it's a different priest, and so he starts confessing all this stuff, and the guy's like, dude, you're a Daredevil? Oh, it'd be kind of funny. But they have a nice little talk as well, and you know, the priest kind of telling him your body and your soul are in conflict right now, and that's why you feel conflicted about this whole, you know, giving up your persona. He brings up Elektra, and I guess because he and Elektra were together, and now he's talking to Karen, and he worries that moving to Karen and kind of befriending her and possibly even more, I'm thinking he's worried that means he's moving on from Elektra and just forgetting about her. And the priest pretty much says, no, that's not it at all. You're moving on. we do that as humans. So, yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a relationship talk with the priest, which is kind of weird. But at the same time, it does show that he is in conflict with this whole giving up his persona, giving up Daredevil, and giving up everything he did before this. So, you know, a nice little conversation to reveal that. And then the final thing to talk about is, of course, our main villain. We see Sigourney Weaver instantly shows up, and I wondered how they were going to handle her. You know, we knew what she looked like. We knew she was going to be the main villain because we saw it in the previews. It wasn't going to be like Kilgrave or Kingpin, where we didn't really see them for the first few episodes. So I was wondering how they were going to handle her, though. They pretty much threw her in along with everybody else's stories. You know, sometimes we cut to her story where we see her apparently being told she's dying from some sort of illness in her body. We see her in the park feeding the birds, and all of a sudden Madame Gao comes in and starts talking to her about some sort of plan they have in place, and Madame Gao's like, it's too early. And she's just like, I didn't hire you for this. You know, you just do what you're told. And I will say, even though I know Sigourney Weaver's a badass, I know she's awesome, there's no doubt she can be that character. To see Madame Gao, who in the first season of Daredevil was the only one that Kingpin respected, so you knew there was something about her that was different. And then in the first season of Iron Fist, really awesome villain to have to deal with. To see her regress down to you're working for me, you don't tell me what to do, and pretty much being told everything, told to feed birds, for crying out loud. It's a little bit funny just to see this character that's been built up as this awesome, you don't want to mess with her character, and now she's just being treated like crap. Like, okay, I'm done feeding birds, you go feed them now. It's funny, but it's also very weird. I'm just like, I'm not used to this. But ultimately we see Sigourney Weaver's character standing on top of this building. Madame Gao once again tells her preparations are complete, and then still kind of has this look of disapproval. Sigourney Weaver's like, I don't care, so leave. And then the final scene where everything's blowing up, the whole city is shaking and earthquakes happening. She turns around to Elektra and says, it's just a city, so kind of confirming that Elektra is back and alive. So, perfect first start to the season. I mean, it's not an action-packed thing, it's not this ton of fighting, but that's gonna come. We know that's gonna come eventually. Honestly, this is exactly what I wanted to see. I wanted to see them all get a good introduction, find out what they're doing right now, where everybody is in their life, because that's what we need. We need them to be reintroduced, to see where they are, because not all of them are in the same place they were at the end of the last episode. Luke Cage is getting out of prison. He's no longer going to prison. Daredevil hung up his cowl. Jessica Jones, pretty much the same. Danny, last thing we saw of him, seeing Kunlun gone, and now we see him hunting down the Hand. So it's just kind of showing where they've progressed from the end of their story. And it's the perfect way to kick it all off. So that's about it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this first episode? What are you looking forward to the rest of the season? Let me know. We can talk about it and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Defenders reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.